Hi. My name is Madison Carter. I'm 29 years old, and for most of my life, I was the daughter no one really noticed. I wasn't the dramatic one. I wasn't the problem child. I was the dependable one. The girl who handled her responsibilities quietly while my younger sister, Chloe, seemed to orbit at the center of the family universe. If she needed money, attention, advice, or rescue, everyone moved. When I achieved something, it was acknowledged, briefly. So I stopped expecting applause. 2 years ago, I moved to another state for a better opportunity. No farewell party. No emotional goodbyes. Just a new job offer, a packed SUV, and the quiet understanding that if I wanted more out of life, I would have to create it myself. And I did. Within a year, I was promoted to senior project manager at my firm. Longer hours. Bigger responsibilities. Higher pay. I saved aggressively. No vacations. No designer splurges, no unnecessary spending. Every dollar had a purpose. Freedom. Then I bought my dream condo. A modern 2-bedroom space with floor-to-ceiling windows and a skyline view that made the grind worth it. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't massive. But it was mine. Every inch of it represented sacrifice and discipline. I didn't post about it. I didn't call my family to celebrate. Experience had taught me something important. When I shared good news, it somehow turned into what I owed someone else. But privacy doesn't survive social media. My cousin Rachel visited one weekend and posted a photo of us on my balcony. 3 days later, my phone buzzed. It was my dad. You could sell it to help your sister. And just like that, everything changed. I read the message at least 5 times. You could sell it to help your sister. No congratulations. No, we're proud of you. Just a financial strategy involving my home. I didn't respond right away. Instead, I called my dad. Maybe the tone in a text had made it sound worse than it was. It hadn't. Chloe's going through a tough time, he said, like that explained everything. Her business didn't work out. She's behind on rent. We're just trying to figure out solutions. That word always meant me. I leaned against my kitchen counter, staring at the skyline I had worked so hard for. So your solution is, I sell my condo. Well, he sighed, you're doing well. You've always been good with money. Chloe just needs a little help getting back on her feet. A little help. Chloe was 26. This was her third fresh start in 4 years. Boutique idea. Failed. Online shop. Failed. Cross-country move with a boyfriend. Failed. Every time, my parents stepped in. Every time, she promised it would be different. And somehow, I was expected to fund the sequel. I just bought this place, I said calmly. I worked for it. There was a pause. Then, family helps family, Madison. There it was. The guilt. The unspoken accusation. You're selfish if you say no. I ended the call politely, but something inside me shifted. It wasn't anger, not yet. It was clarity. For years, I had been invisible. Now, suddenly, my success was visible enough to be useful. That night, I checked social media. Rachel's post had over 300 likes. Comments poured in, so proud of you. Living the dream. Even Chloe had commented. Must be nice smiling face. I stared at that smiley face longer than I should have. Because I knew my family. And this wasn't over. The next morning, my phone didn't stop buzzing. First, it was my mom. Sweetheart, don't misunderstand your father, she began softly. That tone, the one she used when she wanted something. We're not saying you have to sell it. We just think, maybe there's a way you could help Chloe temporarily. Temporarily. I had learned what that word meant in my family. It meant indefinitely. How much does she need? I asked. There was hesitation. Papers shuffling. Whispering in the background. About 60,000. I actually laughed. I couldn't help it. That's not temporary, I said. That's a bailout. She's your sister, my mom replied, her voice tightening. You've always been stronger than her. More stable. God blessed you differently. There it was again. My discipline reframed as obligation. By the afternoon, even extended relatives were involved. My aunt texted, saw the condo. So beautiful. You must be doing very well, winking face. The wink felt loaded. Then Chloe finally called. Her voice sounded fragile, rehearsed. Madison, I didn't ask them to pressure you. Of course she didn't. But if you wanted to invest in me, she continued quickly, I could pay you back. I just need one solid chance. You know I'm creative. I just need capital. Capital. Not support. Not help. Capital. I worked for years to afford this place, I said. Why is selling my home even on the table? Silence. Then, quietly, she said, because you don't really need something that big. It's just you. That sentence landed harder than anything else. It's just you. As if my independence made my dreams smaller. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because I was considering selling, but because for the first time, I realized something uncomfortable. They didn't see my condo as my achievement. They saw it as family property. By the end of the week, the pressure stopped being subtle. My dad called again, this time, not asking. We've been thinking, he said. If you refinance, you wouldn't even have to sell. Just pull equity. It's a smart move. Smart. I almost admired how quickly my hard work had turned into a financial strategy meeting. I'm not refinancing my home, I replied calmly. You're being stubborn, he shot back. Chloe is drowning. Drowning? Interesting word. Because no one had asked how many years I had spent swimming alone. Later that night, I received a group text. My parents. Chloe. Even Aunt Linda. Dad, we need to come together as a family. Mom, this isn't about money. It's about love. Chloe, forget it. I'll figure it out myself like I always do. Like she always did? My jaw tightened. That was new. Revisionist history was apparently part of the strategy. Then came the message that changed everything. Dad, we already told Chloe we'd try to help her. Don't embarrass us. Embarrass us. So this wasn't about Chloe anymore. It was about image. I muted the chat. But they didn't stop. The next day, I got a notification from the bank app. Someone had attempted to access my account online. The password had been entered incorrectly 3 times. My stomach dropped. I changed everything immediately. Passwords, security questions, 2-factor authentication. My hands were steady, but my mind was racing. Was it random? A glitch? Or had someone assumed that because I was family, my finances were shared too? That evening, Chloe posted something cryptic online. Funny how money changes people. The comments were brutal. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel invisible. I felt targeted. And something inside me decided I was done playing the quiet daughter. The bank confirmed it wasn't random. Someone had tried to reset my password using personal information, my birthday, my old address, even my college email. Information only family would know. I didn't accuse anyone. Not yet. But the timing was too perfect. That night, I called my bank's fraud department and locked everything down. Credit freeze. New accounts. Verbal passcodes. If someone thought I was an easy target, they were about to be disappointed. Then I did something I had never done before. I called a lawyer. Not because money had been taken, but because the attempt told me something bigger. Boundaries in my family didn't exist unless I enforced them. When I casually mentioned to my mom the next day that someone had tried to access my account, she went very quiet. That's strange, she said too quickly. Probably identity theft. It happens. Maybe. But then she added, your father did ask Chloe for your birthday yesterday. For some paperwork. Paperwork. My chest tightened. That evening, I didn't wait for another group text. I started one. Me, I've secured all my financial accounts. Any further attempts to access them will be reported. The typing bubbles appeared instantly. Dad, what are you implying? Chloe, wow. So now we're criminals. Mom, this is hurtful, Madison. Hurtful. The irony almost made me laugh. I worked for years to build stability. I wrote. If anyone thinks they are entitled to it, they are mistaken. Silence followed. Then Chloe sent one final message. Fine. Keep your precious condo. Just remember who was there for you growing up. I stared at that. Because the truth was uncomfortable. When I left home at 18, I paid for college mostly on my own. I worked nights. I skipped spring breaks. I built everything brick by brick. No one handed me keys. And I wasn't about to hand mine over now. The weekend came, and with it, a sense of inevitability. I couldn't keep dodging them forever. But this time, I would go on my terms. I drove to Chloe's apartment first. She wasn't expecting me. At least, that was obvious from the look on her face when I knocked. Madison? What are you doing here? Her voice had that mix of surprise and suspicion that said she already assumed the worst. I came to talk. Face to face, I said, stepping inside. My voice was calm, but my posture radiated authority. Chloe gestured toward the couch. Sit. Let's make this quick. I've got work later. I did, and I pulled out my folder, the same one I'd meticulously organized. Bank statements, passwords, security logs, proof of the attempted account access, and everything else documenting the family's recent behavior. I want you to see exactly what's been happening, I said, spreading the documents across her coffee table. Her eyes widened as she skimmed. You did all this? She whispered, looking shocked. Yes. Because you, Dad, and Mom assumed you could leverage my life for your convenience. That ends now. She tried to protest, but I held up my hand. I'm not here to fight with you. I'm here to make sure boundaries are respected. Your money problems, your struggles, are yours. My life is mine. Chloe stayed silent, finally processing the reality. That night, I left her apartment feeling something I hadn't in years: relief. Not just because I had defended myself, but because I'd finally stood up without guilt. By Monday, my phone started buzzing with texts. Dad, Mom, Aunt Linda, all trying different strategies: guilt, threats, even emotional appeals. I ignored them. Instead, I focused on work, on paying bills, on building a life where no one could manipulate me again. Every document I had gathered was a shield, a silent armor that made their tactics powerless. For the first time, I realized that freedom didn't mean cutting ties entirely. It meant controlling the terms, deciding when and how to engage. And I wasn't just surviving, I was thriving. Something had shifted. They could try to pull at my emotions all they wanted, but I had already reclaimed control. And that made all the difference. By midweek, the family text had escalated. Dad, Madison, we need to talk. Don't shut us out forever. Mom, please, I'm begging you. Just meet me halfway. Chloe, you're being unreasonable. Family matters, Madison. I read each one carefully, then deleted them. No emotion. No reaction. They were like background noise now, irrelevant to the path I had chosen. That evening, I reviewed my finances again. Every bank statement, every password, every transaction meticulously logged. I realized how much I had grown, not just in wealth, but in independence. I had left the chaos of entitlement and manipulation behind. The next day, I got an email from the bank, a suspicious login attempt. Same pattern as before, but this time, I didn't panic. I reported it immediately, froze the account for an extra 24 hours, and changed every single password again. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. Every step I took was about reinforcing my life, my boundaries, my ownership over my future. Then came Thursday. Chloe sent a final text, almost resigned. We just wanted to help. We didn't know it would hurt this much. I paused before replying. For years, I had been the one who felt guilty, who believed I owed everyone everything. Now, I simply typed, I'm not hurt. I'm free. And that's enough. Freedom. That word echoed through my apartment as I looked around my condo, the first home I had ever bought entirely on my own. Everything in it represented effort, late nights, sacrifices, and determination. No one could take that away. That night, I sat by the window, sipping tea. The city lights reflected off the glass, distant and calm. For the first time, I didn't feel anxious, guilty, or manipulated. I felt peace. I had moved states, grown my career, built my life brick by brick, and finally, no one could undermine it. The family who once controlled my world now only existed in my boundaries. And for the first time, I understood, protecting yourself is not selfish, it's necessary. Tomorrow, I'd continue thriving, continuing my life on my terms, proving that self-respect and independence were more valuable than forced loyalty or manipulated guilt. I had won, not with revenge, but with freedom. Weeks passed, and the tension slowly dissolved into a distant memory. I had settled fully into my new routine, my condo feeling more like home with each passing day. My career continued to flourish, I was promoted again, my achievements recognized without anyone in my family needing to notice. One Saturday morning, I decided to take a walk through the neighborhood. The crisp air felt invigorating, and as I passed small cafes and boutiques, I felt a sense of belonging I had never experienced with family dictating my life. I was finally living for me. A notification pinged on my phone. It was an email from Chloe. Curious, I opened it. Madison, I want to apologize for everything. I see now that you've been manipulated, and I regret not supporting you sooner. I hope one day we can start fresh. I paused. Part of me wanted to respond angrily, to remind her of all the damage and betrayal. But I didn't. I typed a simple reply, thank you. I've moved on, and I hope you find your clarity too. It was liberating. I realized that part of reclaiming your life wasn't punishing others, it was protecting yourself and moving forward without resentment weighing you down. By the end of the month, my finances were completely secure. All fraudulent debts were cleared, my credit score restored, and my bank accounts fortified. I had built a legal and financial fortress around my life, and no one could breach it again. Most importantly, I had rebuilt my sense of self. I wasn't the daughter who blindly obeyed, the niece who gave in to guilt, or the cousin manipulated by appearances. I was Madison, independent, empowered, and unapologetically in control. As I stood by the window of my condo, looking at the city skyline glittering in the night, I felt a profound truth settle in my chest. Freedom isn't about leaving people behind. It's about reclaiming the life that was always yours to live. For the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was thriving. And no one, not my mother, not my dad, not my cousins, could take that from me. I had my life back. Fully, finally, and without compromise. This wasn't the end of my story. It was the beginning of the life I was always meant to lead.